Good afternoon, everybody. Afternoon for a change. I've been busy this morning. I've look at my nails, even though I had gloves on. I've been trying to get between the tiles in the kitchen and do the grout, because it was all like, although the floors are clean and washed every day, the grout goes a bit discoloured, doesn't it? So I've got some grout cleaner and scrubbing brushes, and that's been my morning. It's been a bit messy and tacky. Anyway, I've come back on, got my cup of char, and I've come back on to talk about the second day of the court case. The first day and the second day, as I said, it was the defendant's barristers who were interrogating me. Interrogate, I wish there was a stronger word for it, what they were doing. It was, even my lawyer said to me that she hadn't seen anything like it before. I'm a bit wary of how much I'm saying on here, because I'm conscious that certain people might see my video, but I know that the general consensus was that they were absolutely horrendous, and they tried to pull me down, pull me into a spin any way that they could, tarnish my name, besmirch my reputation, belittle me, belittle Alf, who had nothing to do with it. And when I say belittle Alf, they brought Alf into it and our marriage, saying that the stress of Alfie being in the nursing home was what was making me so ill, post-traumatic stress, that concern over my husband was making me ill. This had nothing to do with the fact that I had months of pain, like a digging in my stomach, as though I was bleeding from my stomach. Labour pains every day until I could hardly lift my head from the pillow. 77, 78 pound in weight, like a big fish. You get fish that big, maybe. So I felt like a battering ram, but I batter, but they turned me to batter on myself and destroy myself, basically. They were relentless, merciless questions, and without a doubt, those two who were doing the questioning were, to my mind, evil. Not simply because they had a job to do, which I respect. They were retained to do the best for the doctors, but they knew what they were doing. It's like people who defend murderers knowing that they're guilty. These people knew I was innocent and that the blame could be laid firmly at the doctor's door. Therefore, I take the stance that they should not have been so aggressive in their questioning of me. My assertion, and I told my lawyer this at the start, was always that I could only be honest. That was, just wanted to get up there and be honest. I knew what I'd lived through. I knew how horrendous it was. I knew how close I'd come to death. I knew how much I'd wanted death because of the pain. And the only thing that kept me alive, you know, holding on, was the thought of Alfie and my not being there to advocate him, the thought of leaving my kids. You know, I don't want Alfie and my kids to suffer any more pain, and my grandchildren. But my main concern now and for always is Alf, me, the children that have come out of my body through the eggs fertilised by Alfie, and then my grandchildren. Everybody else, yeah, you know, I care, but don't come after me for money, as has happened in the past. Don't come after me expecting me to pay for your weddings, funerals, this, that. Anything I've got is for mine and Alf's children. And I don't even now give it to the well, I do give it to the grandchildren so much here and there weekly, but the monies that I've handed out has been, you know, my kids will look after their kids, and that's how it will be. That's how we brought our kids up, to care and to put their kids first, even before their parents. That's how it should be. It's how it should be with me and Alf, how it is. He above all other, and then my kids above all other, and then the grandchildren. That is our tight circle. And I'm getting off the path a bit now, but my assertion, I said to my lawyer that I just wanted to get up, tell the truth, and I didn't need to read through my statement again and again and again, but I did flick through it, but I didn't need to go into it in depth, blah, blah, blah. I was wrong, terribly wrong. I should have gone into it in depth. I should have memorised everything in that statement. Some of it, actually, looking at it in retrospect, wasn't quite right. Just the little synapses, if you like, wasn't quite right. And I would have picked up on that had I. But I just couldn't, you know, relive it all. And but I should have done, because these barristers, and they were putting the same questions to me in different ways. How many times can you answer the same question over and over and over again when it's put to you in different ways, trying to trip you up? It was like a verbal ballet, and it was like a game in court. It's like a ping pong game, if you like, between the barristers, and I was the ping pong ball. That's how I felt. I mean, I reverted in the finish when they were, you know, where was the pain? And I said, you know, I'm not medical. I'm not going to turn round and say the pain was in my right upper quadrant, because that's medical terminology, and I'm not medical. I can only tell you where the pain was. I can only tell you how severe the pain was, and I can only show you. And I stood up, I said it was here, and I pointed, and I said, and this is where I told them it was. And it was constant digging. And I said, I know where my abdomen is, and I know where my back is, which is here, and it was not my back. So, you know, I was a layperson. I wasn't into all the medical terminology, which they were coming at me with, and expecting to trip me up, but they didn't. I knew the difference between my back and my abdomen. I knew what I'd suffered. I knew what I'd gone through. I knew how I was treated, how I was not treated. And that's how it was. And I also knew that once the surgery had taken place and the dead part of my stomach had been taken away, that the pains had ceased. So that's how it was day 1 and day 2. And when I say a full day, I'm talking about from 9 o'clock in the morning being on that stand until 6 o'clock at night. Imagine that, me on a stand, 9 hours, take an hour out for lunch, 8 hours. Constant bombardment. Had a glass of water at my side, could have done with a large gin and tonic. But that's how it was. And that's, these are the things they said to me also. They said that you have a problem with drink. No, I don't have a problem with drink. I said I have had a drink just to dim the memories, but that's been in company. That's, going out and meeting friends. That's not sitting at home getting drunk. And then it was post-traumatic stress caused because of your husband in a care home, and he's very ill, and they were going into Alfie's disease. I mean, how dare they? How dare they? But they dared, and they did. And it was only at one point where I I didn't lose it. I didn't lose it. I knew what I was doing. And my barrister said to me, "You did excellent. You were very, very well." He said, "But you nearly lost it at one point." And I didn't. It was when they were talking about my stomach and abdomen, and that I was confusing the pain with my back issues. And that's when I stood up and said it was like somebody with a dagger and a shovel going into me. And they weren't going into my back, they were going into my front. I know the difference. I'm not medical, but I know the difference. I'm not a stupid woman. So, day 1 and day 2. So, imagine how bad it was. Just in your mind, imagine how bad it was, and then multiply that by 100. And that's how bad it was. I felt as though I'd been through a mangle. And because I was under oath for those 2.5 days, I couldn't speak to anybody, and I didn't. I was perfectly, I conformed to what I was supposed to do. And my son and his partner, were driving us all, myself and my 2 friends and my son and his partner, and we didn't speak about it. I mean, they spoke among themselves, but I didn't speak about it, and they didn't speak about it to me. And that's how it is when you're under oath. So on the 3rd day, 3rd morning, I was on the stand again. And this time it was my barrister, and I've got to tell you, he was excellent. Excellent. He was quiet, unassuming, very professional, very smart in his dress, but even smarter up here. And a contrast to the other 2, who were, they were dressed okay, but they were like real aggressors. They were like the Vikings coming at me. But my barrister was very good, and he took me through my statement, asked me to explain certain points, which I did. That went on from 9 till about 1, and then I was finished on the stand then. That was me done. And I wasn't really happy about it because I didn't feel that I'd said everything I wanted to. One thing I will say that when we did get to speak afterwards, my experts, the three consultants, the three experts, and they were all saying, you know, well done, blah, 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 and everything. And I was told by my friend, it was my friend who told me, that, and they were listening, and they heard the two consultants talking, and when they were having a go at me, their barrister, and he said, this is just awful. He said, if I had a gun, I could shoot him. Of course, he didn't mean that literally, but, you know, it's just the way they went after me. It was unprecedented, I was told, unprecedented. And even the judge, at certain points throughout the trial, not just in the questioning of me, but throughout the trial, had to tell this bloke, barrister, had to sort of calm him down and ask him to sit down and cut him short, because I don't know whether he was aiming for, you know, to make a name for himself, which he certainly has, but not a good one, or whether he's out for promotion or what, but he was really over the top. So that was my 2.5 days. And then I'll go into what happened afterwards, which won't take up a long video, because I'll just tell you basically what was said concerning me. They had my son, his partner, and my two friends on the stand, only for a short time each. They had the consultants for quite a long time on the stand, and the one doctor, for me, who was excellent, he was on the stand for all day, one day. That was a long, long time. But, you know, compared to my 2.5 days, I think it sort of pales. But I'll tell you a little bit more about that in the next video. I'm going to go, and when I finish my drink, I'm going to get the grout out off me, and the scent of cleaning fluids off me, and hop in the shower, and I'll be back. But, you know, what I've always said, you know, these people like Amy Ramadan and other people who threatened their subs or their viewers, saying, you know, Amy Ramadan threatened somebody, didn't she? I've got a case, I've spoken to my lawyer, as though you've got him on tap, you know. I've spoken to my lawyer and he says, I've got a case, you know. Have you got the money to pay? Because I can tell you that the cost of mine, you know, it runs into, you know, we're talking of have you got a spare $100,000-$200,000, depending on how long your case goes on and whether you win it and whether you lose it. Because when you're threatening people that you're going to take them to court, it really is a load of nonsense. Because unless you're wealthy and can afford to lose that much money, you don't stand a cat in hell's chance of bringing a case against anybody. Silly. I'll be back later. I hope everybody's well. Lots of love. Bye-bye.